You are listening to the Taps and Teas Show, weekly conversations for people passionate about marketing, golf, and craft beer. Marty is the co-founder of Bad Rhino, an award-winning digital marketing agency helping golf and craft beer brands get real results in social media marketing. Here is your host, Marty McDonald.
Hey everybody, this is Marty McDonald with another episode of Taps and Teas, and today we're going to talk a little bit about marketing philosophy from the Grateful Dead. Yes, from the Grateful Dead. So I've been working online in internet marketing in some way, shape, or form since 2002. And it feels like a lifetime. So many changes, so many things that I learned that really become to basics. Let's just put it that way. I'm struggling for the word there. But it comes down to basics, like what you need and offer, stuff that's been going on for centuries. And as internet marketing evolved and as social media became bigger and bigger, certain things stayed the same, but then other things just radically changed. You had these crazy little stories out there that, a cupcake shop that was built in a woman's basement and blew up overnight into a multi-million-dollar enterprise just because of social media. You had all these things that were transforming, and it became word of mouth on steroids. And as my career started to evolve in marketing and it moved out of the quote unquote traditional internet marketing. I don't even know if you can say traditional internet marketing. It feels like it's so new still that you can't really say that, but it's evolved into this big ball of social media. And social media is becoming the internet. The internet's become social media. And you can go back and forth with that argument all day. The one thing I love about social media marketing is, in my opinion, it goes back to sitting around the barbecue, and this could be in any era, and you just have friends, family, neighbors over, and somebody pipes up and goes, I need an accountant. And someone turns around and goes, you need to go see Joe, and Joe can hook you up. And they exchange information and they walk away. Like, thanks, I trust you. I have that validation right away. Hey, if Marty's using Joe, then I can use Joe. And that's how the whole word of mouth thing works. Social media, is like that on steroids. Somebody makes a post and says, I need an accountant. They might get 15 responses. So the reason I bring all that up is the way these things work and the way things have evolved. One of the earlier adopters of what social media was the Grateful Dead. And there's a great little book that I refer to quite often. It's called Marketing Lessons from the Grateful Dead. What every business can learn from the most iconic band in history. Whether you like the music or not, that's here and there. But their business model and their marketing was truly in the 60s, kind of what I feel is the basis of social media. And I'm going to read a few things out of this book today, just to kind of give you a feel. But before I get into that, and just recapping what I led off here with, is as my career evolved in starting Bad Rhino and then working in industries that I really love, craft beer, small business, and golf, a lot of these things can be applied right to a business immediately. And what the Grateful Dead did was redefine what the music industry was. Again, it doesn't matter what the music was, or if you liked it or you didn't like it. What they did was they built a community that would essentially follow them wherever, however, buy their concert tickets, buy their merchandise, everything. And that's not much different than what social media can do for any business, is that you can create this hardcore community where you can have these people at your beck and call. Whether you're a restaurant or brewery or a combination thereof, you're going to have your regulars. You're going to have X amount of people that are in there on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, whatever that is. And you want to cater to them. They might get, an extra perk here and there. They might get, advance notice that, hey, we're brewing something this weekend. Or if you're a golf course, hey, we have somebody coming in to do some lessons, you might be interested. So you get to know those people, and the social media can do the same thing. So let's just go over some of these lessons and in here, and I'll tie it all together with how Bad Rhino adopted many of them. What the Grateful did was a huge case study in just going against the grain in contrarian marketing, as they say in the book. Many of the bands, being the Grateful Dead, their innovation was doing the exact opposite of what other bands, record labels, and people in the music industry said they should do. And I think that's very relevant when social media first came about. And I think even now in 2018, if you go against the grain, you're going to have much more success than if you just do what everybody else is doing, and just blend in. So the Grateful Dead stood out that way. They made people rethink traditional industry assumptions, whether it was back then for music industry was you're supposed to record albums, sell them, and that was going to be your primary revenue source. And the tour was to support the actual sale of the album. Well, they went the opposite direction. They created the business model focusing on touring, and entirely different opportunities emerged from there. And that's how they built their business, and they kept rolling on.
Hey, if you're enjoying what you're hearing on the show and want more, head on over to tapsandtees.info and get our free report with game-changing tips and strategies straight to your inbox. Just enter your info and stop being stuck with no marketing plan.
What they also did was turn their customers into evangelists, right? If you talk to anybody that has seen the Grateful Dead, even in new iterations now, Dead and Company and things like that, since Jerry has passed, you will hear different stories, and they'll talk about their experience. They'll talk about everything. And even if you're a casual fan or somebody that's not really interested in the music, you want to see what it's all about. So they turn their customers into evangelists. Unlike many other bands, the Grateful Dead not only encouraged concert goers to record their live shows, but they actually catered to the people that wanted to record those shows. They created little bit taper sections, and then they traded the tapes, and that led to, in pre-internet, obviously, that led to millions of other people being exposed to the music for free, which then in turn said to them, like when they came through town, they wanted to meet with them, or not meet with them, but see them and meet other people rather. And that's pretty cool. I mean, that's free content. That's the free content model. People worry about giving away their stuff for free all the time. And this podcast doesn't cost anything. And this is a perfect example of that. I'm doing this so that people can learn who Bad Rhino is and what we're all about. But at the same time, it's free content. And you get used to giving away free content so that people come in and they have an intrigue about your product or service. That could be doing videos to educate them about your golf course or about how to take a proper golf lesson. On the beer side of things, that could be even simple giveaways or access to see you brew and shooting videos of meet the brewer. Hey, this is our brewer, and this is our brewer Jason, and Jason does everything here. Jason, tell us a little bit about your process, your thought process in naming the beer and what's going into this, this beer that we're brewing right now. Simple things like that. That's free content. You get people engaged with your brand. The other thing Grateful Dead did was they went out and they created a mailing list where they announced tours to their fans first. So they bypassed all the accepted channels and they went directly to the customer. It's exactly what you can do on social media. If you have people on your social media channels and you have a community, you can communicate directly to them. You can also get them onto an email list and focus in on there. By doing all this, they really create a ton of loyalty and therefore built a large, loyal following. When you look back at the Grateful Dead, they let their audience define the experience. They were just there. They were there playing the music. The concerts were happening. It was the destination. 20,000 people or more were just all part of the entire experience, making fans an equal partner in that journey. And I think that was really cool in the fact that how you take that into social media is the community defines who you are. You have Twitter, blogs, and everything like that on social media. You learn that companies can't force a mindset onto their customers. They need to react to that market. They need to include them in there. They need to make sure that they're catering to them, but they're also including them in the process and having, something a little bit of fun that includes the customer there. And you could do that a multitude of ways, and not going into the how-to today. Today is a little bit more about philosophy, but they really encourage so many things with the band and having the audience being part of it, from recording the shows, from creating art, from creating everything. They didn't put barriers around it. And you can do that with your social media. So when we started Bad Rhino and looking at all the options that were out there for internet marketing and social media marketing, when this book came out, it really hit me because I'm a big live music fan and a Grateful Dead fan. but it made it so simple to understand, what certain things were and how certain things, came about. And this book was first published in 2010. And coincidentally, that's when we started Bad Rhino. So putting all those things together, you can use that philosophy to look at your social media. You don't have to use the Grateful Dead. I mean, you may not like the Grateful Dead, and that's perfectly fine, but you might have another aspect to it that you can start to create something. And you put those aspects into your social media strategy and your marketing strategy. And in this day and age, the more you give, the more you tend to get back with there. And you have to have a strategy around it, because a lot of people just tend to give, and they never ask for anything. You want to make sure that you have the ask in there, and your marketing isn't just, hey, we're going to be a happy marketing place and not sell anything. You're going to go out of business. Your brewery's going to go out of business. Your golf course or your small business or whatever, you're going to have problems. So make sure that you don't just focus on giving away stuff, but at the same time, incorporate that in there. You want to make sure that those things and building that community is huge. So you could be social like the Grateful Dead in that aspect, and have your social media have the same thing, where you have people that are talking about your business, talking about your product, talking about your service, and you can kind of sit back because all you did was give them the platform and light the fuse, so to speak, for everybody to do so. So in the next episode, we're going to be talking about awards and how you get marketing awards and why some are bogus, some aren't, and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you on the next episode of Taps and Tees.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.